can't stop. Fuck around, make my 40 pop.
We're definitely getting close to an Amado rescue arc. No wonder they had Sasuke find out Code's hideout. I completely agree with this. I think the logical thing for everybody right now to essentially do is, of course, try to rescue Amado. One of the things that we do understand about Amado is that he's very, very valuable to the Hidden Leaf Village. But beyond that, an actual Amado rescue arc could possibly be very good for multiple reasons. Obviously, Kawaki, as of right now, wants to speak to Amado. And of course, because of that, we're probably going to get a lot more answers just off of that, period, point blank, because this was like one of the first times that a character actually in the series, which was Sumune, actually questions Amado intent in regards to Kawaki. Of course, there's a bunch of people that don't necessarily like him and think that he's up to no good, like Shikamaru and etc. But in regards to Kawaki, it's been all chill. So we're probably going to get some answers off of that. Not only that, we also do know we're going to eventually have to fight against Code being completely unlimited. And I'm pretty sure during that arc, that's where we're probably going to get the finality of everything. Now, specifically, how are they going to do it? I was kind of wrong in my actual assessment in my last video, talking about how Kawaki could potentially jump through one of the claw marks that Code did actually leave back. That right there was completely wrong, because as a lot of you guys told me in my comment section, it was already explained that it has to be either Code's intent or Code has to actually pull you or drag you through there, similar to what he did with Amado when he actually kicked Amado through. But regardless, I think the transportation could potentially be solved in a couple of ways. One of the things that we do understand is that Kawaki right now still does have time space ninjutsu, and of course Sasuke already knows exactly where the hideout is. If Sasuke gives him the coordinates, Kawaki can then potentially open a portal. Now that right there is a very slim chance, but the reason why I want it to be this quickly is because if they don't necessarily intervene right now, like as of this moment, Amado may actually die. The chapter ended off with Code like actually trying to attack Amado, and if that's the case, the best way to actually stop something like that from actually happening is to try to get there as quickly as possible, and the quickest way to actually get there would be either Kawaki or Boruto's time space ninjutsu from their karma seal. But before we get to the next question, I do want to give a huge shout out to my sponsor for today's video, and it's going to be Surfshark VPN. Surfshark VPN keeps your online identity safe by encrypting all information sent between your device and the internet. This keeps personal data protected from big companies or cyber criminals. For example, let's say you're going on a sketchy website to watch an anime. Surfshark VPN checks for potential breaches. It also keeps your device virus free, which is huge. Surfshark VPN also allows you to change your virtual location. Surfshark literally has over 3,200 servers in 65 different countries. I don't know why with Netflix, but you can only watch certain shows in certain countries. For example, one of my favorite TV shows has to be The Office, and they actually removed The Office from Netflix in the US, but it just so happened that they actually have The Office on Netflix in the UK. So I can easily go to Surfshark and change my location so I can actually watch The Office. Another one of my favorite series has to be Spider-Man, and the Spider-Man collection on the US Netflix is literally laughable. If I go to the UK and actually type in Spider-Man, I'm going to get a lot more actual movies and shows than I would get on the US Netflix. Surfshark was also generous enough to actually give us a code that you can get 83% off plus 3 extra months for free. The code is on the screen, and it's code BAARA, BAARA. Surfshark offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's literally no risk to actually trying it out. And also, you trying out Surfshark is also supporting me as a creator. The link to sign up for Surfshark is in the description down below. Make sure you guys check it out. But the next question comes from Emil. He says Ada will prevent Code from killing Amado because with her Senringan, she knows Kawaki wants to confront Amado, and Ada is going to use Amado as bait to lure Kawaki to her location so that he could talk to Amado. This right here is actually a very good idea. There's a couple of reasons why I think that Amado's probably not necessarily going to die. I think I voiced that in my review. I think it's way too early for Amado to actually die, and him not necessarily dying because Ida wants to use Amado as a quote-unquote bait to lure in Kawaki. That would be absolutely impeccable writing. But this kind of also brings into question how loyal Code is probably going to be to Ida, because one of the things that was explained in the past couple of chapters was the more simple you are as a person, or I'm guessing as a mind, you're probably going to fall deeper under Ada's control. So hypothetically, a character like Shikamaru, he was able to completely disregard all of Ada's commands. Code, however, wasn't necessarily able to do that, and similar to Delta, now that Code is completely unlimited, it's possible for Code now to have a little bit more resistance to Ada's abilities. Not saying that Code is going to automatically just outright kill Ada or anything like that, but we did hear from Code in the last chapter. He essentially says he feels like no one can actually beat him. If he truly feels like that, it wouldn't necessarily make sense for him to actually try to listen to Ida if he himself feels like it doesn't really matter, no one can beat him. I don't necessarily know if he's talking about Ida and Daemon, but if that's the case, I don't know, but I definitely do like this idea right here. This right here would be a very, very good way to actually start the quote-unquote Amado Retrieval Arc. The next comment comes from Celeric. He says, I have a question regarding Daemon, which is, let's say you set trap/attacks that weren't directly aimed at Daemon, would they still hit him, or would they still reflect on the user like indirect attacks? All right, so hypothetically, if there was like an indirect attack that did actually hit Daemon, would that actually affect the actual person who set the trap? That's a good question. I don't necessarily think that there is an actual black or white answer as of right now, because as of right now, no one really knows. So this right here is just my personal speculation. I think it would actually affect the actual user. The reason why I say that is because if that's the case, it would kind of make it a little bit simple to actually beat Daemon in a battle if someone were to actually figure that out. And I think the writers want Daemon to be a very, very strong villain. They even said that he was over Jigen. So because of that, I'm going to opt with the idea that the actual person who did set the traps or the indirect hits would probably still get attacked. I know this right here isn't necessarily a completely one-to-one comparison, but people who don't necessarily intend to hit Daemon are still actually affected if the attack actually does hit Daemon, because we've seen with Kawaki. Kawaki was aiming directly at Code, or Kawaki was intending to hit Code with a blast, and last second Code essentially pulled Daemon through one of the claw marks, and Kawaki got absolutely rocked with the same blast that he was trying to hit Code with. So even though it's indirect, I'd still say Daemon's ability would still work, but I definitely do believe we're probably going to find out some sort of weakness a little bit later, especially after the Code thing. Now that Code himself is unlimited and there isn't necessarily a lot more intrigue on his character, a lot of the informational stuff is probably going to lean towards more of Ida and Daemon. The next comment comes from Derek Boap. He says, if you look closely at Code's forehead after the limiters were taken off, it seems like he has a third eye that's covered up by the claw mark. All right, so this right here is definitely a decent idea. Again, there's a lot of theories surrounding Code's actual form. Does he have dojutsus on his actual eyes? And not only that, does he have a dojutsu under that actual claw mark? I personally do believe it's a very, very good possibility. One of the biggest questions regarding Code's brand new transformation is going to be, when he was limited, were the limiters actually limiting some of his abilities, or was it just all strength and speed? In my personal opinion, if it was just strength and speed that was being limited, it would still functionally work, but I think a lot of people would kind of see that as like a bit of a disappointment. Don't get me wrong, we all loved Ishiki Otsutsuki's speed and strength, how he essentially used Sasuke as a surfboard, but one of the most intriguing things about Ishiki Otsutsuki was of course his abilities, the Daikokuten, the Sukuna Hikona, a bunch of things that a lot of people didn't necessarily see before in the series of Boruto, and of course how unique he uses abilities, like he literally summoned a glass of wine from a dimension where time doesn't flow. So I think Code having different abilities, and especially a different dojutsu that we haven't necessarily seen before in the series, would definitely be a very good thing for a character like Code, who doesn't necessarily have a lot of respect as right now. Even though his limiters are removed and now his new form looks absolutely insane, we still do have to say the claw marks aren't necessarily hidden as they should be hidden. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. What do you guys think about the quote-unquote Amado Retrieval Arc? And let me know what you guys think about the comments in the comment section down below. Remind you guys, I'm probably going to try to do these things probably like once a week or something like that. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. And not only that, make sure you guys check out Surfshark VPN. The link's going to be in the description down below. But it's me, your boy Baara, and we out.
It's a knife.